It's good to see so many people this early. I had never imagined showing up in the Philippines and starting on time. But there's a first for everything. So, today I'm going to talk about the state of SEO in 2022. A lot of things changes in SEO all the time, and fundamentally, it's good to keep up. Now, there's three key things that I'll touch on today. The first one is content. Hopefully you know a little bit about that if you're in SEO. The second thing is links. Hopefully you know about that one as well if you're in SEO. And the third one is about all of the rest. So, sorry, the clicker does not seem to be working. Sorry, interventional break here. So, my name is Matt Singers, and as Glenn so kindly said, I am from Denmark originally. I have lived all around the world for the last 20 years or so, and fundamentally, my passion in life is people. So I love building companies, I love hiring people, I love giving great people opportunities, and through that, I've built a whole bunch of businesses. So first and foremost, my management consulting company, where I help other people become great leaders. Reality is anyone can start a company nowadays, anyone can start working online, but becoming a good leader is not easy, and I spend a good bit of time helping people how to become a good leader. Now, second, I have a big outsourcing company that I originally started in Davao, Philippines, in about 2014. So that's a couple of years ago. We have a couple of hundred employees all around the Philippines working with all sorts of outsourcing. So that's a lot of fun. And then I have our own services where we basically build and grow our own sites for SEO specifically. So that's typically affiliates and ads and the likes. I also run a content company where we have about 70 writers full-time, and they basically produce a ton of content, both for ourselves but also for many clients. And that is all native English content, so that's generally written by native English speakers. And then lastly, I run one of the biggest online events in the world, which is called SEO Mastery Summit, where last time we had 14,000 attendees, so lots and lots of people. Now, that event have generally in the past been online. We started it during COVID, and our focus was just to provide a great event with lots of free information. So if you are into SEO, I definitely recommend that you sign up at SEO Mastery Summit. We are looking at doing an actual live piece of it, but fundamentally the key focus is we want to give a lot of good SEO knowledge away for free. So let's get into the fun stuff. Now, what's new in content? Now, content fundamentally have not changed that much over the years, but what have happened the last year and a half, 2 years, is that AI have come into play. And what does that mean? Well, it means that when you're looking around the internet nowadays, you will find sites, very, very big sites, that are literally just AI-generated content. Now, when people can suddenly publish 200,000 articles with a click of a button, now, not saying they're amazing English, not saying what's on the pages actually makes sense, but the whole point is when you can produce a huge amount of content in a very short span of time, that enables you to do things. Now, Google are working on this, and they're working with this, but reality is the way AI is growing and the way AI is progressing right now, I reckon a couple of years from now, it will be very, very difficult for Google to distinguish AI content. So, what's actually happening with the content? Now, so with the AI invasion, what's happening is that people are able to produce huge volume of content. And what happens is that if you are out there currently running a small blog or currently doing things that, you know, writing your own food recipes and the likes, you will probably have a very, very difficult time succeeding going forward. Because when people can push out large quantities of content, what they're gonna all write is generally the lower hanging fruits, right? Now, AI content is never going to outrank the best of the best quality content out there. I doubt it, at least. But what it will do is low quality content will eventually disappear or be overtaken by AI content, right? So my distinct recommendation on this point to people is, if you are in the business of low quality content, if you are looking at generally producing sites, producing blogs or the likes, where the content quality is not very good, you should definitely start looking at ways to do things differently. Maybe even look at AI yourself, but fundamentally really look at what am I actually doing from a content standpoint. Now, the second thing that have come into play the last couple of years is around clusters. And at this point in time, Google is really ranking things very, very differently, right? You can literally take a new domain with no links and really cover a particular content cluster extremely detailed. And when you do so, you will start ranking. So if you answer every question within a certain cluster on your site, you will generally start ranking. And that is definitely a possibility that a lot of very good SEOs are using. So again, you can cut down on link cost and you can cut down on other things by really fulfilling the clusters, by really answering every query around a particular subject. Now, this is one change that have definitely become dominant within the last couple of years. At the same time, if you have sites that have 50 different topics, you're probably not ranking as well today as you used to, right? And that is very much due to this stuff. So generally, if you are in SEO, if you are not looking at clustering yet, there's a lot of great content out there about how to build clusters, how to figure out what you should have in clusters. But the fundamental aspect is you want to cover each topic in much more detail. So for many, many years, niche sites have been very, very sort of popular and so on. They still work, but you want to cover more. So you generally don't want to build a site with 5 pages that talks a little bit about one topic. You really want to cover every topic in as much detail as possible, right? So that's one of the other big changes that have happened. Now, I have a couple of recommendations. So there's 2 people that I personally follow when it comes to all this stuff. So number 1 is Corey, who is from Turkey. And he talks a lot about this stuff on YouTube and so on. Lots of free content from him. The other one is my great friend Kyle Roof, who spends a lot of time both talking about internal linking and silos, but also very much about these content clusters and how to get them right. So that's a couple of recommendations for you. Now, quality content. So as I said, AI is coming. And with AI, there will be a lot of stuff out there. So how do you actually go about producing really, really high-level content that's really going to set your site apart? Now, it used to be the fact that you go out, find a content writer, get them to write about anything. But fundamentally, in our company, we are looking at industry experts, right? We're really looking on consistently finding people who are expert at their industries to actually share and contribute. And reality is, content quality now is not just the written word. It includes video, it includes audio potentially, but there's many, many things that you can do nowadays to really up the quantity and the quality of what you're doing and really push out a different level of content, right? So again, think of AI. What can AI do? And how can you make something that's significantly better, right? So when it comes to quality content, generally, finding experts or either writing about topics that you're actually an expert at is really going to make a huge, huge difference going forward. How many people in here generally produce quality content themselves? Like how many people actually write content in here and focus on high quality content? Can I see some hands? Just a couple. Very good. Charles put his hand up very fast. Excellent. Okay, so generally start looking for better content, right? Start looking for better contributors and start looking at how can you do this differently. Second thing we're going to talk about is links. We're going to talk about how important they are. We're going to talk about where to send them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about can you rank without them. So first and foremost, are links important? Or why are links important? So Google focused more and more on this thing they call authority. And there's a lot of chatter out there about all this EAT and all this authority and expertise and so on. One of the ways that Google is definitely currently measuring your authority is the quality of the links you have to your website. And one of the best ways to make yourself or defend yourself against Google updates to get more rankings in general is definitely getting high quality links. Now, high quality links is not the ones you buy on Fiverr still. High quality links is big newspapers. And being in the Philippines, again, there's a little bit easier access to some of these sources, right? So if you're having Filipino sites or Filipino clients, getting links from Filipino newspapers and so on is often slightly easier than it might be in countries like the US or in Europe. But fundamentally, finding high quality links that really stand out is a game changer, right? So links have always been important for Google, but particularly with their new focus on authority and trust, the links have become so critical, right? Now, fundamentally, things have changed a little bit about where we point links to. So we predominantly used to send links to the money pages we want to rank, and we were doing that very consistently. And when you looked at some of the different tools, SEMrush or Ahrefs, it was pretty obvious that the people who had the most decent links to their page would generally rank on top, right? Reality is nowadays we send very few, if any, links to our money pages, but what we consistently do is we always send links to all the supporting content we have around our money pages. And the reason is that nowadays one bad link, like one link from a page that Google do not like, can really bring down a page specifically, right? And you don't want to bring down your money pages. Now, if for whatever reason one of your supporting articles get hit a little bit, that is what it is, but you don't want to bring down your money content, right? And that's why it's very important to be very careful with when you're pointing links at critical pages, particularly if you're working with clients, right? If they have pages that are making them thousands or even millions of dollars a month, pointing the wrong links at those pages could be very costly, right? So we are very careful when we're looking at links in where we are actually pointing those specific links nowadays. And I think that's probably one of the biggest link changes that have happened for us over the last 12 months is really where we point links now. So how many of you guys spend time building links on a regular basis, either building or buying? Can I see some hands? That's a lot, okay. So lots of linking going on, that's good. Yeah, so I think from a trend perspective, that's definitely the most important. Can you rank without links? So as I mentioned when I talked about content, yes, you can rank more today without links than you could 2 years ago. The links, as I said, is still helpful. If you build links, even great content will rank more and it will rank better and you'll hit more keywords and you'll get there faster. But reality is you can rank for a lot of stuff right now without links or without many links at least. Now, if you're looking in the niches like casino or CBD or the likes, you probably still want to play the link game. But if you're on a budget, if you're building your own sites, you can definitely find niches where you can get a lot of traffic and you can benefit significantly from really having very minimal links. Now, reality is you still do get links when you have great content out there that is ranking and people are seeing. You do naturally attract links, so you very rarely have sites that are ranking very well and have no links because you will naturally attract some. But reality is you can, right? So again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do in many cases, but it's a possibility now, and that is something that was definitely difficult 2 years ago, right? So again, that's one of the big changes I see when I look around at the moment. So I will talk more about the rest. And what I'll talk about here is focus 80-20. What are you actually doing? I will talk about the things that you actually do either as a SEO or as a business owner and so on. And then I'll talk a little bit about brand building. So first, 80-20. Now 80-20 means what are you spending 80% of your time on? Now when I look at most SEOs, unfortunately, and I know Glenn is going to come up here and talk about technical SEO at some point. Don't boo him. But fundamentally, where the value is in SEO is content and links. Those are generally the things that moves the needle on a consistent, ongoing basis. The problem that I see with most SEOs is they spend 80% of their time messing around in technical stuff. They're always trying to find these little golden nuggets that would suddenly like blow up their site and make it amazing overnight, right? And there's very few of those. Yes, you definitely need to have your technical structure in place. You definitely need to have an understanding of the technical structure. But fundamentally, if you want to be successful in SEO, my experience is you want to spend 80% of your time on the content and on the links, right? And this might be a wake-up call to some people, because I think a lot of people really sit around and love nerding about, love testing out things. And here's the thing, content isn't particularly sexy. It isn't particularly fun. If you love SEO and if you're in the field of SEO, content is probably one of the least interesting things for you. But if you want to be effective, if you want to deliver results, if you want to make money, this is where you want to spend your time. Now, obviously, if you're a technical SEO working in a business where other people do other things, totally understand that. But if you're an overall SEO looking at a SEO strategy and so on, you really want to spend your time on content and links. Now, can I see some hands in here? How many people who are general SEOs spend about 80% of their time on content and links? That's a good chunk of people. I'm very, very happy to see that. I'm very happy to see that. It means some of you are making some good money out there. Right. Now, coming from that, a very good question to ask yourself is, what should you be doing and what should you actually let go? Now, fundamentally, many SEOs are very detail-oriented people. It means we want to do everything ourselves. We want to figure it all out ourselves. We want to know every detail of what goes on everywhere ourselves, right? So one of the things that have made our internal SEO company extremely successful is simplicity. So we have set up a structure where we train. We have what we call site managers or site owners, and we train a site manager in about a month to a month and a half. One of the biggest challenges for most SEOs and most SEO businesses is finding people who know and understand SEO. And the problem is, for most people, it takes them 3, 4, 5 years to learn, and it takes them a couple of years to teach people. But what we have found is that the more you break it down, the more you simplify things, the faster you can train people and the faster you can get amazing results. So my recommendation in general is learn to understand, where are you the expert? What are you really, really good at? And what are the things you're not? Now in our case, since we bought a content company, we realized we are very good at the content. Now we love buying links, we love acquiring links externally, and we simply do that because the distraction it takes to build them in-house, we much rather spend our entire time and focus on doing things that we are very good at, right? Now, you might be in the total opposite boat. You might be a amazing at building links and you might be not very good at doing content, and that's totally okay. But you really want to figure out what is it we do exceptionally well. And then, sometimes you can do collaboration. If you run an agency and you're amazing at links, maybe you can find an agency that's amazing at content and maybe you can collaborate. But very, very often I see companies fail when they're trying to be an expert at the whole thing. Because here's the thing, you can only focus on so much in business, right? Yes, if you're a company with 100 people, you might have the capacity to focus on more. But if you're 10, 20 staff, if you do one thing and you do that extremely well, you will be more successful. If you have a 20-man agency and you are extremely good at content, or you are extremely good at links, or you're extremely good at technical SEO, you will do so much better, right? So learning to figure out what are we good at and what can we either let go or find other people to do for us is so critical for success, right? Now personally, as I said, we spend about a month and a half to train up a site manager. Now what do we train them on? How do we get someone to manage our sites? We train them on keyword research, how to publish content, and the key things about what you need to know about content that comes in and how to make it rank well, optimizing headers, optimizing internal links. And then we teach them how to optimize existing content. And this is literally our process. We feel in-house that we can build amazing sites with people who just understand those three processes. Significant focus. Now yes, we have a dev team or a very good dev that set up all the sites and make sure the technical background for them is good. But we don't mess around with it. We don't spend time on a daily or even monthly basis messing around with technical SEO. We make sure the foundation is there. And then once every 6 months or once every year, we go and pay a company to do some speed optimization. So we currently use a company called WP Speedfix, who are absolute expert at speed optimization. And here's the thing, if we want to know that in-house, if we want to be experts at doing something like that, we would literally have to have a developer sitting full-time just thinking about that, just learning about that, right? Now we can go pay someone a couple of $100 to do this, and it saves us so much time and headache, and we know we always get the best service. That is a great example of letting go of things, right? Now yes, as I said, we buy a bunch of links externally, and we have a couple of people in our team that just focus on where do we buy, where do we acquire links, and where do we send them. But that is actually not the responsibility of our site managers. And again, that simplicity, when you have someone just spending all day sitting looking at links and anchor text and where do these things go, the simplicity of that creates success. The simplicity of our site managers knowing their craft in detail makes it so simple, and it makes it very straightforward to go. So what I recommend, particularly if you're running an agency, I know people who have checklists of 1 million different things they look at every client site, like 1 million things, or maybe 100 things. Now, if you have a checklist in your project management tool with 400 different items to check, my expectation is about 300 of them will never have a significant impact, right? So I really recommend that you go back and you review your processes and say, does this really make a difference? Right? Business and SEO, which is in principle the same thing in a lot of cases, business is about doing the things that moves the needle. If you're spending significant amount of time training people to do things that doesn't move the needle, doing tasks that doesn't move the needle, you're being ineffective, right? So learn and understand the things that really moves the needle and focus on that. Now the last thing, I actually have a bonus one, but the last thing I really want to talk about here is the brand, right? So I talked a little bit about quality content, I talked a little bit about videos. Reality is, going forward, Google is trying to figure out both how to deal with AI, but also in general, how to deal with search results better. And reality is building a brand today, wherever it's for your clients, wherever you're building your own sites, whatever you're doing in SEO, building a brand, like really getting brand presence, makes you stand out, right? When you look at most people who are successful in SEOs today, they're using SEO as a vehicle to bring traffic to their brand. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're running a carpenter shop or if you're running a cafe or if you're running a big SEO firm. Building a solid brand makes you stand out, right? And it enables all the quality content. It enables you to do amazing videos. It enables you to do things that set you apart from your competitors. One of my favorite exercises whenever we're building any kind of sites is go out and look at what are your competitors doing right now and how can you do that better, and then actually do it. It's easy to sit down and say, oh, that's not good, that's not good, that's not good. The difficult thing is doing it better. But again, if you focus on that, if you focus on the quality, you can go and do that very well. Excellent. So my little bonus point is all about networking. So as I said yesterday, as Glenn said, yesterday we were sitting having a little chat about networking in general. And my Filipino is not fantastic. I have lived here for a few years, but my Filipino is not fantastic. So I'm not 100% sure what Glenn said, but my experience is 100% that when you show up to an event like this, the value is in getting to know people around you. So if there's people you've been following on social media, if there's people you know about, walk up to them, put out your hand and says, hi, my name is whatever your name is. I know it's very un-Filipino. I know it's cool to be shy here and it's cool to sit back, but if you want to become a better SEO, the way to do it is meet other great people. And here's the thing, when you're sitting watching stuff online, people will share a lot of stuff. But there's often a lot of secrets you will only hear over a beer or over a cup of coffee when you're meeting someone face to face, right? All of my businesses are significantly more successful because I do a lot of networking. I love sharing. I love standing on a stage like I am here. But networking, getting to know people, walking around, and yes, I know all these masks makes it a little bit more difficult. But reality is, if you want to stand out, and again, this doesn't matter if you work in a company right now, if you're running a business, or if you're just sitting doing SEO for yourself, getting to know more people is the #1 differentiator, right? So if you want to succeed, if you're ready to succeed today, I advise you to take every break possible, go up and say hello to someone you don't know yet. So that's all for me for now. Thank you.